live.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Moderation Office Hours. Hope you're coming from a number of wonderful beaches as well. We are here in the Dunes world, me, Canadian Get, and Veer, to field any questions you might have about the moderation team, the guidelines, the mentor program, or of course, as we always like to say, Resonite more broadly. Of course, we're the moderation guys. We tend to work in business. We tend to work in moderation policy, fielding tickets. So you're welcome to ask us all sorts of things about the game, but if it's more technically minded, we like to encourage folks to stick around for the second show, I guess I could say, as Frooks will be hosting the Resonance in 90 minutes from now. Of course, feel free to ask us those technical questions. We will give you our very best answer, and it might be good. If it's not, we will point you in the direction of a yellow dog man. It seems like we're coming through reasonably loud and clear, or at least visibly, as Freaks is saying that I'm apparently off frame, which, now that I look at it, does seem to be somewhat true. I'm at least
just going to drag you a little closer.
Oh, dear Lord.
There we go.
How is everyone doing today? There. We have a close-up of the skeleton today. We have a few questions coming in, which I'm going to make a comment for as well, because we occasionally forget the PSA on this. If you put a question mark on whatever you ask us, it slips it over into a secondary little set of comments. We don't miss those questions. Please feel free to do so if you have any questions for us, or just comments you really want us to read. I know that some people stick a question mark into a statement if they really want it to be mentioned. That's fine too. We're happy with that. Rolling down the questions, why is Git off frame? I'm not anymore. VT asks, when is Git on frame? Apparently right now. And then A's asks, has Git tried the pre-release? I actually haven't jumped into the pre-release yet. I have heard fantastic things about improvements across the board over there, though. I'd strongly encourage people to poke around in it. I've been following all the messaging coming out for it, and it certainly seems very exciting. I might jump into it just after this, but today is unfortunately a somewhat busy one, so maybe later tonight.
Yeah, it's been great. Just at least testing it on desktop. Just knowing the fact that like I can load my very heavy homeworld that I've worked very hard on in like 10 seconds is just fantastic. I'm excited to see it in VR. Yeah, I was just about to grab that. Erasmus says, in most games, like, nope, gotta like rebuild the world. But in Resonite, I could just grab my friend and scoot him closer.
Yes. Arguably easier than when on the beach.
Oh no! I accidentally clicked the thing. Hold on. I will return to frame in a moment once I'm done fixing my poser system.
I feel it's profoundly weird that I have the ability to just rotate and then continue to rotate. But that's also a thing one can do in Resonite without needing to go see a number of specialists. Rick says, I'm working on it, but controllers have too many buttons and hands have too many fingers. I don't know what this comment is in reference for. Yes? VT asks, how do when a frame be framed?
That's a good question. What? How do you want a frame be framed? I don't know. It's just like who framed Roger Rabbit for some reason came to mind. I don't know. It's very silly.
Seems it. Rasmus asks, what is the recommended way to display rules to users arriving in worlds? Obviously, barriers with them is one way, but other ideas would be nice. Well, the super low-tech one, to frame this. I imagine what Rasmus is talking about here is a session rules. Of course, you're welcome to post the Resonite guidelines inside of a world. That's wonderful, but most people looking to post additional rules are probably hosts looking to run an event or a community world where they have session guidelines for just that session that are above and beyond what the Resonite guidelines are. Just for everyone else tuning in. The general recommendation are kind of as we see right here. The highest, I guess, most effective version of that would be a sort of almost terms of service agreement box where people load into a world, and in order to gain access to the rest of the world, they have to hit an I accept on some sort of protoflux thing that lists out the rules of the world, and then you hit I accept. I think that a number of users have built systems like that, and they're often the most effective version to ensure people have read them, but a super low-tech version version we consider equally valid is simply having a sign that you have posted inside of the world. Hell, you could just have a floating square of text that's next to the spawn point that's going to be readily available as people load into the world. That's far less fancy than the Protoflux agreement box, but also suits all the needs for moderation, and I'd recommend one start with that if you're then looking into other ways you could maybe improve it. Of course, if you want to put it on a little stand or something so it's diegetically part of the world, that's wonderful. I know even Veer has built fancy little signs of that nature previously. That can, my hand is exploding. That can be quite appropriate to the world. But yes, that's sort of like the lowest tier one and the highest tier one in terms of expectations.
Yeah, just make sure it's clear, it's visible, and usually near the entrance of the world. That's probably the best way of going about it. Unless you want to make the user walk a long corridor from the spawn location and then eventually end up in front of a sign, and then they have to pass it. Actually, that's not a bad idea.
It does ensure the world has loaded, unless they jump in and hit jump to a user. But that, of course, the follow-up being, if it's... you don't have to just have one sign, would be my always recommendation at the end of this. Yes, one near spawn is very, very good, but if you have a central sort of social hub, having it posted in that general social hub as part of the world is something that makes it so it's really hard for folks to miss, even if they were staring in every direction but at that sign when they first loaded in, or perhaps the sign took some time to load in, it will still be there once they're inevitably hanging out with other people socializing.
Yeah. Another thing that another sort of tactic I've taken is sometimes you add something extra to that board too, something useful, utilitarian, or even pretty. Some boards I've seen hand out like pretty little wristbands or something, and that's an easy way to at least get a user in contact with that rule board at the beginning of the world.
Absolutely. Ace on Twitch says, decoy is now a piece of flesh that is Resonite.
It's a really weird way to phrase that. Yeah.
I personally
definitely
would like to object to the idea that to be part of Resonite, you have to be a piece of flesh that is part of Resonite. That just...
Is Resonite just Akira? Like, is that what's going on here?
Well, I'm all right with an unholy amalgamation of individuals making up Resonite, but flesh just seems unnecessary.
Says the skeleton.
Yes. Also,
you might be a little biased.
one of the inclusions was a bot.
True.
He brings no flesh. It would be deeply confusing if you just kind of squished him in there.
Just skeleton things.
Decoy says, I am actually just bird. I've heard that to be the case. Welcome, Decoy. I'm supposed to pretend. I don't know. I guess we've already given the announcement. I can't pretend you don't exist until a potential future recap stream. The cat is out of the bag, or I guess the bird and bot are part of the bag. The analogy doesn't really hold, but all the same, Decoy, welcome to Moderation Office Hours, the first one hosted with you officially part of the team. I imagine it is going to be an exciting next week, hopefully a considerably longer time than just next week, but next week as the introduction to fun things.
Indeed. Rasmus says the problem with Git is he has no skin the game. Well, see, I read that at first as Git is no skin the game. Like, I don't know, I feel like that's probably a game that would get removed from like Steam due to their new rules.
Oof.
Oh my god. The bird is a flesh bot. All right.
These questions have gone a confusing place, and I am going to avoid them now. Will Git become whole and have skin? I am whole.
Git has simply shed, his enslavement to skin, and is enlightened by not having the weight of it on him anymore.
Look, I don't think even Prime has skin. I'm not entirely certain what Prime is, to be fair, but I would not describe him as skinned. Why is skinned a lacking skin? English is dumb.
I know, right? It is kind of dumb.
It should be unskinned. Maybe that word just feels worse to say. Just saying it aloud right now, unskinned, doesn't feel like a good word. Anyways, Brooks is here saying, Bird, welcome again to Decoy. I hope you're having a fantastic weekend. Hope everyone else is having a fantastic weekend too. It has again become murderously hot here. We had our 1 week of nice summer in Canada. Now we're back to humidity and unfortunate temperatures.
Yeah, it's been getting hot around here too.
Thankfully, we brought the stream to a location that will evoke nice cool temperatures. And
you guys can't see it, but like, this is what we're sitting in front of. Hold on. I'd say like, I don't know. Oh, just, yeah, there's our music. Yeah, it's a nice little oasis.
There are palm trees. I think, no, actually, these aren't really palm trees. There are trees.
I just imagine there's like no wind.
Firm tree. I don't even know what these trees are meant to be honest.
Grass.
Grass?
Trees are grass.
They're meant to be grass trees?
I don't know.
Okay. It's quite possible. Navy asks, how can a skeleton feel hot? When temperature outside hits bones, those bones heat up. They're capable of holding heat. And at some point, that constitutes hot.
Huh. Also, you're not just pure white, so like you're not quite reflecting a whole lot of sunlight either. So you're absorbing some of that.
I'm wearing a very dark suit. This is not ideal weather. All told. I feel we should probably jump towards PSAs. We have received not a lack of questions today, I will admit, but most of them are not necessarily moderation questions, outside of one. Thank you, Rasmus, for desperately trying to keep us on track. Flipping into the broader PSAs, well, I guess the one would be what we sort of started with in a roundabout way. There's currently a pre-release kicking about, allowing folks to test and provide bugs, for the upcoming splittening. That's the sort of thing I'd strongly encourage folks to engage with if they want to be able to assist identifying problems and getting it closer to release. That's the sort of thing that, yeah, it's not like we stop smashing bugs once it's officially released, but we always want things to come out as thoroughly tested as we can, and that's always going to be something best done with people. We have a great deal of user-generated content kicking around our platform, and it's all made in a myriad of interesting little ways, so we need people to come in and load all their strange stuff to find all of the strange things that might have gone wrong with said stuff. All that to say, it's also fun just to kick over there and check out how fast it is. So I would strongly encourage people to boot up the pre-release, jump in, and tell us if anything goes wrong. If your computer melts into slag, we won't give you a new one, but we will thank you for identifying apparently a computer melting bug, which would be, a problem.
Yeah.
We have not, to be fair, previously identified a bug that will melt your computer, but yet it would be good to know that those exist before it hit multiple people. Nuki's here. Welcome, Nuki. They say I got in. We did run we did run ads before the stream started today, but unfortunately Twitch is voracious with getting those ads done, so sometimes even if we hit them beforehand, things appear. Erasmus asks, how is the moderation situation looking in general? Overwhelmed or flowing slowly? Well, we can't really give... I'd say broadly everything's going fine. But the bigger thing about moderation is that it doesn't necessarily come in waves, though it certainly feels like that on occasion. We will have rushes, we'll have quiet weeks, and we're in the middle of rushes. Good lord, the tickets can pile up and we have to try and chew through all of them. But more broadly answering, it's something that we certainly have enough hands to handle. We wrap up all of the tickets every single week without a significant issue, I should say.
Yeah, definitely. Ace on Twitch says we need to squish ants, mosquitoes, and flies that still exist in the pre-release. Also, Frooks, I don't know, he really likes logs, so make sure you're deforesting a little bit too while you're on there.
My hands had a moment again, but I think they're back to normal. Nuki says, I had questions from last week. Yes, apologies for last week not necessarily working out as well as it could have. I'm still not entirely certain why my ISP just would not send enough anything to Twitch to get frames to stop dropping, but by all means, remember, whenever office hours cancels or has some kind of technical difficulty, there's multiple ways that you can get through to us. One, of course, you can just wait till the next week. We'll be back next week. If it's a question that can wait that long, I strongly encourage you to come shout us in the face, or the lack of face. It's a good way to get through whatever concerns one has. But you can also go to the moderation reporting system, and the same place you would typically report another user, you can drop down the help topic and send in a ticket under general inquiry, and we're happy to field any moderation questions or concerns you have through there. Of course, if you're looking for another place to hold on to questions so that they definitely will get answered next week if you're worried about forgetting, you can go to the Resonite Discord, and down in the office hours questions forum, there is a moderation office hours thread just waiting for questions to pile in. I see my vamping has managed to succeed long enough for Nuki to post a question. All right, Nuki says, I got a very vague message about content in public sessions for moderation. I asked for clarification, and they said they couldn't give any. What am I supposed to do to comply with that if you don't know what the issue was? How worried should I be about non-concrete stuff like that? Well, we tried to give as much clarification as we can inside of messages. If you are still confused with what clarification we provided in tickets, I understand there might still be a bit of a disconnect, as we do have another principle at play. We never want to identify whoever submitted a report to us to the person we're sending a reminder, warning, let alone account restrictions to. In that instance, of course, we're going to have those two competing principles of trying to give you as much information as we can, and of course keeping things relatively anonymous. I always apologize when we reach the circumstance that sometimes you will just not have as much information as you would like due to those competing principles, but I hope folks will at least understand where we're coming from when trying to meet a compromise between the two. If you still express some strong confusion, though, we can try and clarify or reword our answer a few times to help provide a little bit more detail, keeping those two principles in mind.
Zardio Drax says, to be honest, I don't think I've seen anything similar to office hours. It's an interesting way to do things. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. We just kind of came up with the idea of wanting to communicate directly with the community. We wanted to figure out a good way to do it, and we just kind of chose like that term, office hours, sort of pulling from like universities where instructors may have open office door hours, or office hours, as they like to shorten it to. Where students can come in and ask them any sort of questions about the things they're studying. And it's been very successful, very fun, honestly. I actually really look forward to doing these during the week.
Yes, they're very entertaining. And of course, we have since the very beginning been pretty keen on just providing as much face time again for the devs as we can, and I think we've succeeded at that. Moderation office hours, our team office hours, we will have financial one on the recap stream. Fruits hosts his stream, prime time office hours. There's a lot of opportunity to come talk to the devs in Resonite. Ponty's, go ahead.
Oh yeah, Ponty's Pizza. You can grab that one. I'll grab Nuki after you.
Ponty's Pizza asks, Resonite Skeleton and Dog, long time no see. How have you been extra cheesy? I hope so.
Heck yeah.
What does extra cheesy entail?
I think it's a vibe.
I'm going to say yes. I'm concerned, but I'm going to say yes.
So Nuki asks here, when y'all look at moderation reports, do you factor in how active users are on Resonite while making decisions? I'm disabled and I'm online a lot because of that, so I would have a lot of opportunities to make a mistake compared to the most users. No, so we don't necessarily look at how active a user is like on the platform when we make moderation decisions. The only real alternative to that is if someone's like just on here, just made a new account just to like grief people, right? That's about the only time we'd take a sort of consideration like that. But in any other situations, we're looking at the evidence. We're looking at if there were guidelines being broken. Those are the factors that we take into consideration. There's nothing else that tilts us in any particular direction even like supporter level. That's not even something that we ever factor in. Just to, keep that into consideration. That's the only way that we can keep things fair.
Absolutely. Now, it is worth noting, I guess, if you've been around for a million years, that time into the past is at least part of it. If one had reminders or account restrictions levied against them at some point, like a year or two ago, as years go on, then yeah, we'll take that. Nothing has been problematic in the last 6 months, 12 months. That will certainly be part of our consideration if we look into the ticket system and we see you show up somewhere in there. Sorry, did we actually get a censored message?
It seems to have come through at least on our end.
Oh, there is. Okay, well, we do have a question. Rasmus says, he might also say other things. If you did, please restate it. But we got one, at least, that says, thoughts of possible not safe for work content in public sessions, such as a picture of a phallic or similar, provided it's not in use. We had a picture of a bedroom with interesting stuff in the background. Okay, so this is, I guess, the idea of things that could meet adult content but are not presently in use inside of sessions. We don't presently have extensive caveats for art at the moment, though that's something we're willing to talk about in the future. Our definition for adult content right now, however, does include, yes, sexualized activities, but also genitals just by description in plainly existing is something that we would not be happy with, or at least something we would identify as adult content, so you have to follow adult content guidelines around them. If I misunderstood the question, do feel free to clarify, and I'll follow up with whatever the clarification is. But as it currently stands, yeah, there's certain descriptions that we have inside of adult content that's going to count as adult content, regardless of whether it's in use or not.
Yeah. Usually, and it's not even necessarily safe, but the only other, direction that you could go that might even be considered safe, it's still risky when it comes to getting our attention, is parody, if it's
yes.
just, super parody, of, I don't know, let's say someone just draws the typical, curved line in 2 circles or something on something. We're not going to ban them for that,
No.
You guys can probably, inference for what I'm what I'm referencing, but no, stuff like that, that's whatever. But if it's just a straight up what Rasmus is stating there, no, that's probably adult content. You probably shouldn't be posting stuff like that in public worlds.
Yuki says, draw phallic doodles. Got it. We do have a number of guidelines, just to more broaden that joke. We do have parody as a defense for a number of broader guidelines. One that has come up a number of times in the past is can one impersonate Resonite staff? And the answer is no, if it was done sincerely. If you genuinely try and pass yourself off as Veer and start telling people what the guidelines are, making up new ones in sessions, we would have a big problem with that. But if you decide to put on an obviously caricature, a jokey skeleton face and a funny hat, and then go around trying to mimic my voice in a very cartoonish fashion, it's obviously a parody. No problem. I don't care. As long as you're not trying to convince someone that you are another person in terms of genuinely impersonating them, it's fine. Parody presents a defense. We apply this for a couple of other guidelines out there. You're allowed to make jokes. We're aware that humor exists in the world. That is something we're going to take into consideration when interpreting the guidelines.
Yeah. I'd say that there's only one additional caveat to that though, and that is let's say the parody goes over someone's head, you can't just continue
yes,
misleading the person. Yeah, if they really start saying oh, okay, you're this person, then you have to clarify. If you don't, at that point we will consider that impersonation.
Yeah, it's basically, do they understand it's a joke? Do they understand it's parody? Nuki asks, what if I pull out a Polly puppet and said it was Veer? Well, I mean, that would probably be an excellent example of parody, especially one of those little ones you can stick on your hand and you can run around with treating it like a Muppet. Yeah, no, absolutely. If someone, I struggle to imagine a scenario where someone would think a puppet on your hand actually is Veer. He's not that small. So that would probably be fun.
Zardio. Yeah, I'll grab this one. Little question, how does the team prepare for the future, making sure that the increase of people doesn't impact the quality of moderation? I know scaling moderation can be a big challenge. I'm just curious if you've thought about it. Yes, so that is definitely something we've thought about. As far as moderation goes, I'm likely going to have like a scaling chain of command. You know, a lot of moderation teams do this particular method where they'll have like basically middle management, like a long way up the ladder, and eventually you get all the way up to the leads. But below them, you'll have managers managing like subgroups of moderation teams, etc. That's probably how we're going to go about it. The only thing that would make that a difficulty is if we had a sudden massive increase in like population. That's when things would get a little bit hairy. But we would still persevere and scale up to to compensate.
Yeah, to make that easier right now, we have fleshed out training manuals. We have recently trained a bunch of people, and Veer has set it so that the number of moderators we have right now is more than we need. Generally speaking, people don't need to participate too much as part of the moderation team due to the quantity we have. That's deliberately so that if we had a large number of people come in, we would, well, assuming it's like 100,000 people show up tomorrow, we have a problem. But most values of people, other than 100,000, we're going to be able to handle, and we have the systems in place. We've gone through the training, we've gone through the recruitment process, we have all of the interview questions lined up, all the training documents lined up. We could rapidly bring in additional people and have done that process, even when there wasn't a huge cause for people, just to sort of give it a live test run and bring in some fresh faces. So I'm very confident in our ability to get through that. Questions though. Nuki asks, what if the Veer puppet was drawing phallic doodles with a permanent marker? Well, if it was permanent in VR, I would be deeply confused. If you found a marker in Resonite that can't be undone in any capacity, maybe I would be concerned, but probably not. Nuki follows up with, are you going to expand the moderation team before split name releases? We're already seeing an influx. And no, as the previous answer probably implies, we do have an abundance of moderators right now ready for a bigger population. And again, all the systems and processes in place to rapidly expand if we need to, should we get at least 4 digits of people walk through the door over the next couple of months. That would be something we could tackle, I think, with little difficulty.
Yeah. Rasmus asks, thoughts on the use of AI in Resonite, in particular chatbots like the one found at the Quantum Bar, if it attempted to pass off as a legitimate person. God, that's terrifying. Like, the implications of that. Oh, man. So that is an interesting direction to kind of go as far as moderation is concerned. We currently don't have any guidelines regarding AI. Don't make griefer bots. Don't do that. That's not cool, especially if they try to pass themselves off as like people. Why are we doing this?
So AI, though we don't have any specific AI guidelines, we can obviously imagine that AI would follow under the content guidelines of everything else. In terms of, you can't use it to harass, it shouldn't contain obscene content, it definitely shouldn't be able to produce hateful content, it shouldn't try to impersonate anyone. All of the things we've covered in other contexts also apply to AI. As things get more popular in that direction, should they get more popular, we'll certainly keep an eyeball on the need for additional guidelines coming down the line. Yeah. I certainly think an AI bot that wasn't disclosing that it's AI in any capacity could be something that we would look at in terms of guidelines in the future. We will have to see how that develops as a field. Clicking, did we miss a couple questions?
I'm not sure where we're at.
Nikki asks, what's the status of things with the mentor team? Anything interesting coming down the line? No, we fired all of them. Gone.
Yeah, they're all gone. They're all still there. Yeah, I'd say that there's at least a couple things coming down the line. More so, we're in the beginning stages of like, it's something I can't necessarily talk about yet, but I will be able to bring it up soon. There's stuff going on behind the scenes, and it's going to be cool.
Andy. looking at a few of the things Zardio mentions. It's getting hard to make a difference, to notice, I imagine, to notice the difference between AI and non-AI things. And yeah, I think that's certainly true. I think we can speak at least more broadly that we have no plans from a Resonite company perspective to make implementation of AI in terms of like customer support or using generative AI in the creation of our assets. I think the art team would rebel and murder the rest of us if we told them to do that. It's not likely to be a big part or any real part of Resonite wandering forward in terms of our own practices. So at the very least, we can talk about that without much concern. On a moderation or specific thing, there's certainly no AI involved with the curation or answering of tickets. You might occasionally find, if you happen to submit a lot of tickets, somewhat similar or repeat answers provided to you, because we do make use of pre-canned messages. There's a number of pre-written responses that apply to a very specific question that we've received a whole bunch of times, but those aren't penned by ChatGPT. That's Veer and me and Dante writing responses, and just when the same question comes up a second time, we kind of use the pre-cans as also a pseudo form of precedent, so we're not making different decisions every single time. We'll just give the same answer to the same question. That's what's happening when you see that. Every single ticket is always answered by a human being, and every single word written in any of those messages, even if they are pre-cans, were also written by a human being. We simply don't make use of AI in our practices.
Yeah. I don't foresee us working on that, sort of thing, like anytime soon for certain.
Unless spell check counts. I've used spell check. Yeah.
I'm fine with some level of like automation in some things, but like, to be clear, not in moderation decision making. Want to make that very clear. But as far as like AI itself goes, one, it's incredibly sloppy. Two, it's like questionably like ethically created, so I don't know, it's just, we don't usually like to work with stuff that the ethics behind it is questionable. It's already dealt with that before. We don't want any more of it. Let's see here. Apparently Nuki's going to be streaming after this stream. The USFN dev team is going to show off their Jupiter station. That's pretty cool.
Zardio says AI support is the worst, and to deal with the Twitch one, and it's just ChatGPT. Yeah, that's pretty common. We don't have that here, obviously. The flip side of moderation, of course, is support. We do have support tickets. You can go in and present bugs, security issues. Those are also fielded by human beings. They may occasionally present as strange, small purple dogs on the internet, but they too are human beings behind the screen. Prime also is digging around a lot of the security tickets and assisting in that side. And again, I'm still not certain what the heck Prime is, but he is probably not artificial intelligence. He is genuine intelligence.
It's really funny that Frooks actually Frooks brought up a PSA topic for myself here. Frooks says, it'll just hallucinate a bunch of guidelines and stuff that the people have done. So only very loosely associated with that hallucination of guidelines. That's one thing that I have seen happen in many communities. I'm not talking about AI anymore, by the way. What I'm talking about is how can I put it? I have seen a few postings of guidelines that people assume are guidelines for the Resonite platform in our own Discord, sometimes in the the other little social groups here and there. So you can find the Resonite guidelines. We don't try to make it difficult, to find necessarily. You can find it on our website. If you find that others are talking about other guidelines that are not on that guideline list, or not even in the wiki or something like that, it probably doesn't exist. And also feel free to ask us here to clarify if, certain rules are real or not. We'll answer you.
Rasmus says, Chapter 11, questionable ethics. Yeah, that can be an AI thing too.
Yeah.
That said, we have sauntered past 4:30 quite rapidly today. So as usual, we're going to give the spiel where we like to say at the half-hour mark. We're going to be fielding the questions as they come in, but we will be turning an eyeball towards potential streamers that we could raid. If Nuki's running a stream today, that could be excellent too. But of course, the actual criteria for getting raided by the Resonite Moderation Office Hours is to be streaming something in Resonite that is PG family friendly, because that's what we aim for, broadly English speaking, because everyone here speaks English, and have the smallest view count. Now, I know that might be hard to achieve if you're very popular and successful and doing wonderful things out there, but our goal, of course, is to uplift the newcomers to our community. So if you're trying to start out a stream today and you don't have anyone watching, it's just you staring at yourself, be happy. We're going to raid you. So if anyone would like to start up a stream right now, you're more than happy, or you're more than welcome to do so.
Oh, yeah.
Fruix just says people don't read official sources enough. It happens with a lot of technical stuff too, where some claims just come out of nowhere. What's that, Fruix? You want to talk about ref hacking? It's a weird thing to bring up in the end of a moderation stream, but I guess we could.
Hey, Fruix likes ref hacking now?
Clip that. Someone clip that.
He's gonna kill me for that.
Decoy says,
no, he doesn't.
Mint Shock is streaming themselves, making a UIX system. That could be excellent.
Ooh, yeah. That's actually someone we haven't raided before, so I think that might be someone we actually choose to raid today.
We could put an eyeball on them, but again, remember, it's always a race to last place. We go with whoever we can uplift the most.
Zardio Drax says guidelines are long enough that most people don't want to read it. That's why we did our best to make sure that the at least the most front-facing section of guidelines is very easy to read, like on a human level. Each guideline is probably at most 4 to 6 sentences long, and it's just presented in almost a 2 to 3 page format. It's really easy, especially if you have a particular question about like certain types of content. You could just go and check the guidelines there, and you'll probably find your answer very quickly. But if you decided to read the entirety of the guidelines, it shouldn't take you any longer than 5 minutes.
Now, we do understand, in contrast, why people often ask for like examples. They want many additional caveats, like an example of following the guideline, this or that particular guideline, this or that particular question about this guideline. They want details. When people want to follow the rules, they often want details, a higher level of clarity. But that runs directly contrary to the idea of keeping them as concise as humanly possible. Of course, we've tried to meet that in the middle by keeping it as concise and easily to understand as we can posted online, and then providing you many opportunities to come yell at us about clarification. You can either talk to us in office hours, you can send us tickets asking for further clarification and examples. You're welcome to have the conversation, even if you'd like, going into Discord and seeing what people have found previously. It's the sort of thing where we're trying to give you many different avenues to get that level of clarity while also keeping what we've posted concise and understandable.
Nuki says, if Mint Shock is streaming, maybe I should postpone my stream. I mean, that's up to you. Generally speaking, though, like if we do raid a particular channel a lot and then we see a new channel pop up, usually we're going to be attracted to the newer channels, especially if they have like fewer fewer watchers. If they're really new to like streaming Resonite, we'll usually go for those. I think Decoy even said it's a race to the last. Is that like in reference to that, or I missed that part?
Yes, that was my okay. Recommendation.
Oh yeah. Let's see
who's out there on cooking. At least a Crater Jam.
Put a copy in the Resonite Essentials, bullet points in the lawyering further down. So can we talk about the help thing? Trying to be vague, just in case.
I don't actually know. I want to say yes. I believe folks were looking for proofreading, and that means it must be at the mentor level, which means it must be public. I'm going to say yes.
True. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the art team, they've been working on a sort of help tab thing that's going to probably also be in the Resonite Essentials, but it will have the guidelines in it as well. So soon enough, it will actually be in the Essentials. So thank you for bringing that up. So keep an eye out for that help tab. It's going to be really cool. Can't wait to see it in action, and I think it's going to be great.
All right. I think we have slowly wound down questions for today. Folks are just talking about and looking towards streams, so let's see who is out there.
Yeah. So I'm seeing here, I see Mint Shock is streaming, and the other one is Creator Jam. We've already raided Creator Jam a bunch of times, so we're going to give Mint Shock the raid today. Apparently they're making some UIX stuff, and they're working on some cool looking stuff here. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start the it's already been shown off in the devlog and recap streams. Thanks, Frooks. I must have missed it in the devlog. All right, folks, I'm gonna go ahead and start the rating process. We've already wound down a little bit here, so we will see you guys again next Sunday. Same time, same place. It's not a holiday, right? Next week. I don't think there's any holidays coming up, right?
Long weekend, but no, nothing fancy. That's just 3-day weekend.
Perfect. All right, guys. We'll catch you guys next time. Say hi to Mint Shock for us. I'm going to start the raid process here, and we're going to be raiding in 10 seconds.
Have fun, send them our love. Hope everyone has a fantastic week.
Yeah. All right, folks. We'll catch you guys later. Bye, guys.